Y'all know what time it is, man. Welcome back to Hot Takes. It's the MMA series I'm doing where y'all submit to me your controversial MMA and UFC hot takes and opinions, and we're going to be going over them. We're going to see, do I agree or do I disagree? We're going to see where y'all are at on the spectrum here, and we're going to see how hot of a take it is. So as usual, my boys, thank you so very much to anybody who submitted anything in. We got some good ones today. So starting off with the first one we got here coming from Gabriel Jenkins, and your profile picture's looking like the weight cut... like the weight cut up Beneil Dariush where his soul is leaving his body. But Gabriel saying that Tom Aspinall would quite easily beat Prime Stipe, C-level Kane, and Prime/current Ngannou. I feel like Prime Ngannou and current Ngannou are probably a little bit different, but Francis motherfucking Ngannou. I see what you're saying. Now, this is a little bit of a hot take, but it's not too hot. Not to sound like a prime white dude here, but it's not too spicy, because the reasons why it might be too hot of a take is because you're saying quite easily. I think that honestly, these three heavyweights are probably the three hardest matchups and probably the three most skilled heavyweights that you could throw at Tom Aspinall. No offense to the current day heavyweights like the Mountain Time Burmas and the fucking Sergey Spivaks, the Alexander Volkovs, the Blades. But honestly, in terms of competition level for Aspinall, you know what I'm saying. Aspinall is just in a league of his own right now. He seems like he's the top of the mountain and everybody else is just getting at the fucking bottom, okay? It seems like that's how Tom Aspinall is just above these current heavyweights. So I think that Prime Stipe, genuinely, I'm not just trying to be a fake hardcore and push on my fake hardcore glasses and say, oh, people forget, man, but Prime Stipe, this guy's a marauder, an S-tier marauder. He could beat Tom Aspinall. I do genuinely think that Stipe, Kane, and Ngannou are the toughest matchups you could bring for Aspinall, and they all present different things. Stipe presents the well-rounded skill set. He had the wrestling, he had the cardio, and he had the boxing, okay? He wasn't afraid to get in the pocket. He had good power to go with it. That could present Tom Aspinall a lot of problems, and okay, people forget, man, but we kind of experienced a Jones versus Aspinall at home a few years ago, a long time ago. It was Stipe versus Ngannou 1, when Ngannou was the fucking marauder of all marauders, and everybody thought he was going to knock out Miocic in a round or two, and that was Miocic's kind of just peak performance. Not peak performance, but one of his best where he got to survive the storm early on, mix in the wrestling, and was able to drag Ngannou to deeper waters. Now, granted, Aspinall is way more well-rounded of an athlete and has way better of a ground game than Ngannou did in the first fight, because even the second fight against Stipe, he already developed a decent amount of takedown offense and knocked him the fuck out in the second round. So that goes to show that. But that was a bit of an old man Stipe. Prime Stipe, though, that like 2016 to 2019 Stipe Miocic, I feel like with the well-rounded skill set, he could present problems to Tom Aspinall, but I would still think that Aspinall's power would just get through. I think that he has the ground game too and the necessary takedown offense to stuff a lot of Stipe Miocic's takedowns, if not all of them, be able to keep it a striking battle. And I feel like I favor the power and explosivity and the speed of Tom Aspinall rather than the bit of stiffer and slower boxing from Stipe. Stipe is one of the best heavyweights of all time. He's the heavyweight GOAT in my opinion, but I think that Tom Aspinall would just be a little bit better on the feet and on the ground. Now, for C-level Kane, I mean, Jesus Christ, Joe Rogan is about to burst through my door with a fucking gauntlet of doom anytime that C-level Kane is mentioned here, okay? It's his favorite fighter. The only thing that Joe Rogan is missing is C-level Kane in the apex. He would be set in heaven, okay? But generally, I think that C-level Kane, man, he had such a heavy pace and pressure. I mean, Cain Velasquez, I'm not saying the C-level Kane shit, like he's a fucking Super Saiyan, okay? But Kane was very good at setting a very heavy pace and pressure, and I think that that might be able to drag Aspinall in the deeper waters. Aspinall gets all these allegations about, oh, we've never seen him in the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth. Like, what's he like? You know what I mean? But I feel like Kane, he had a pretty solid chin for most of his career, and I feel like that the durability, the really good cardio, the pace and the pressure, and he was pretty well-rounded in his own right, okay? He was pretty good at chain wrestling, pretty good top control. He knew how to mix it up on the ground, but his boxing, it was solid. He had some solid fucking pop on his shots. Kane could fucking crack, and the thing is, he was just overloading you with volume, pace, pressure to the point to where he was drowning guys. I feel like that's what makes him different from Ngannou and Stipe. He could kind of bring that cardio element into it and maybe survive the storm, but I would think that Aspinall would still beat him. I think Aspinall would find the chin of Kane, and even then, Aspinall, I'm going to be trusting in him, training since he was 5 years fucking old, to have cardio that gets him out of round 2 and 3. But who knows? Maybe. There's so many question marks with Aspinall, that's why we don't know. And for Francis Ngannou, man, power puncher versus power puncher, I feel like that this one is just honestly the simplest of all the matchups, because Ngannou, what got him to the dance, what made him so fucking successful was the devastating knockout power. And I think that with Aspinall, he has that as well, but his ground game is just better than Ngannou. So it would primarily be a striking battle battle. If anything, I mean, Ngannou, yes, he could shoot a takedown here and there. Yes, he got massive ground and pound over. I forgot what the dude's name was from PFL, but shit like that, okay? Ngannou has a ground game. I mean, people forget, man, he was taking down Ciryl Gane in the fight of the year, but Tom Aspinall, I feel like his power is on a similar level. He's faster up there as well, and he has the ground game to balance it out. So I feel like Tom Aspinall, it wouldn't be easy, but I agree with you that he would beat Prime Stipe Kane and Ngannou. We're gonna have to see how he does against the guy who's an even tougher test. Ciryl fucking Gane. I can't even say it without laughing. Moving on up next to another one we got coming from 2 Chainz himself, all right, saying that Merab beats Volkanovski tomorrow. Merab is a top 5 fighter of all time, and then you kind of had to flex on me a little bit. You put in parentheses top 3, to be honest, okay? So you're saying that Merab would be able to beat Volk. I'm gonna assume you mean moving up to featherweight, or maybe you mean skill for skill, pound for pound. Maybe you mean someone like that, okay? This is a hot as fuck take. This is fucking flaming, all right? A volcano just erupted somewhere in some god forbidden country, all because you said this take, okay? God help them. Send money, please. But honestly, dude, I don't necessarily agree with this, and honestly, it depends what you're asking me. If you're asking skill for skill wise, or if you're asking Merab moving up to featherweight, I think at featherweight, I don't think Merab is too big of a bantamweight. He's certainly fucking bulky. He's certainly a very short, stocky, and muscular fucking build, okay? He could move up to featherweight and beat pretty much everybody up there. He's got good enough wrestling, good enough cardio, and his striking has been improving to where, yeah, I could see him fucking hanging. He wouldn't be the smallest featherweight in the world, okay? Bryce Mitchell fucking existed, but or maybe Mitchell's bigger than Merab. I don't fucking know, okay? Because if Merab did move up to featherweight, I feel like that would just favor Volkanovski. I feel like Volkanovski's iron wall takedown defense would just hold the fuck up against Merab. It'd be a standing battle, and even though Merab's striking has been improving, I think that Volkanovski, man, he's just so fucking good on the feet, man. He's not the most devastating power puncher you've ever seen, but the dude has solid pop behind his shots. He has really high volume and output, and he knows how to control and maintain a very good pace. He knows where to dictate where he wants the fight to go as well. If he wants to mix it up with the ground, he could take it there. If somebody's shooting at him like a Makhachev or a Merab, okay, and they're spamming it, he knows how to hold his own. People forget about that Craig Jones work, okay? And if it is just a striking battle, I would favor Volkanovski. So it's nothing against Merab. I do think Merab is a top 15 greatest fighter of all time, but I don't think he's a top 5. I don't think he's a top 3. Do I think he's a top 5 pound for pound right now? Hell fucking yeah, dude. But to say he's a top 5 or top 3 fighter of all time, I mean, I'm putting this guy above like the GSPs and the Makhachevs and even Volk himself. I just can't do it. DC, all these fucking guys, okay? I just can't do it. But I can't see what you're saying, but honestly, I feel like Merab is one of these examples where we do kind of need to pump the brakes a bit. I'm not saying that your opinion is wrong. You can genuinely believe that Merab is a top 5 fighter of all time. Everything in his skill set and all the incredible things he's already been doing within the past 2 years alone, I can understand that, okay? He's dominating fucking everybody. While the resume is very good, I feel like it is a lot of recency bias. Like, if he goes out there and beats Sandhagen gets even more defenses after that, and truly, I mean, he already is the bantamweight GOAT, but if he just gets even closer to general GOAT status, then yes, we can fucking move him up. But in my opinion, Merab, he's in the top 15, but I gotta pump the brakes with him a little bit, alright? It's with a lot of these fighters right now. Like, I get that the modern day competition is better. I get that we're dealing with the greatest champions we've probably ever seen, but I feel like you kind of have to wait things out a little bit. You kind of have to see how the story ends, because so much of what goes into us ranking these guys on the GOAT scale and everything like that, yes, it's because they're great fighters, but it's also because the longevity they had at the top, or we got to see how they really ended things. Because Adesanya is now 0-4 in his last 4, he's like 1-5 in his last 6, just shit like that. But a few years ago, people would have said this guy was one away from the middleweight GOAT status. So it's just shit like that. You kind of have to see how things go and really develop. So for Merab, in my opinion, I'm pumping the brakes a little bit, but specifically against Volkanovski, man, pound for pound, skill for skill wise, I think in general I would still go with Volk. I'm going to be honest. I think the only things that are really holding Volk back in that matchup is that he could be a little bit slower. You know, Merab does have the lighter man skill. He is a bit of the younger fighter, but I mean, what, Volk is like 36 and Merab is like 34, about to be 35. So honestly, we're not dealing with like Unk versus Unk, too much of a drastic difference here, okay? They're both around a similar age. They're both kind of, Volkanovski is leaving his prime and Merab is kind of at the tail end of it. I mean, it's crazy though. Merab just keeps on improving, because Volkanovski, we know how good he is, and yes, he's improved a lot in his career, but you know that he's on the tail end, and you know that he's not as good as he was a couple of years ago. You know what I'm saying? And for Merab, even though he is 34, it seems like every performance against O'Malley the first time, and then against fucking Umar, and then the O'Malley rematch, and then very curious to see what happens against Sandhagen, Merab is just getting better and better, okay? And so that element, the fact that he's younger, the fact that his striking is improving, the fact that he has a really good chin, he's very durable, he has the cardio advantage for sure, because Volk, he's got great cardio, one of the better gas tanks in the UFC, okay, pound for pound, but I do think that Merab is just something different. And in terms of the wrestling, man, I just think that Volk has good enough takedown defense. He's good enough in the scrambles, and he's got good enough defensive grappling and all the Craig Jones work to where I think Merab would get him down a few times, and I think that he would drag this out to a decision over 5 rounds. And I don't think that Volkanovski would finish Merab, but I would lean towards Volk like a 48-47 decision. I think Merab could take over in the championship rounds and just really show off the cardio, but I think Volk's striking, the well-rounded skill set, I just think he's the better, more polished fighter, but I still think Merab is very good, if that makes sense. But there's a bit more holes in Merab's game on paper, and I feel like the intangibles that hold back Volk is like the old age and the speed and the chin and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? So I would lean towards Volk to beat him. But I see what you're saying. I tip my Ben Askren throw to you. This is the hottest fuck take, but I can dig it, okay? I dig it. Moving on up next to Boo Boo. Boo Boo 2009, I appreciate you. Saying that Khamzat Chimaev fought a boring fight to capture the title and his money. His title defenses will be finishes, no doubt about that. Now, to be honest with you, brother, I agree with this, and I wouldn't say it's a hot take. This is a bit of a cold take, to be honest with you. Because I feel like before Chimaev fought DDP at 319, he was putting out consistent entertainment in every single fight that he had. Even the more boring of his performances. I mean, what performance could you even refer in Chimaev's career as boring before that? He knocked out GM3 in his debut, turned around a week later, or vice versa, whatever the fuck it was. He got finish after finish. The fights that he's actually gone the distance in against Burns and Usman were one of the best fights of those years. So Chimaev genuinely never put on a boring fight before against DDP. And I think it goes to show against DDP, he was either that good and Chimaev just did what he had to do. He wasn't afraid to stink it up because he knew the threat of DDP on the feet and he just shut that shit down. He played it safe. Or it genuinely just wasn't even a matter of DDP's skill set going into the fight or during the fight. It might have just been Khamzat Chimaev. It could have been anybody in that cage and he could have just done that exact same thing, except maybe even a little bit more dominantly to other guys because DDP is very good. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't know. But in general, like, that was really the only boring performance of Khamzat Chimaev's career. And to be fair, it was rough. It was a D or F tier fight. It was not good, man. He landed hundreds of strikes, and when only 30 of them are fucking significant, it's a rough look, okay? And, like, it was the fight of the year. There was so much hype, and it kind of just fizzled out in front of our very eyes, okay? The only exciting moments were round 1 and 5, because 1, you were like, okay, is Chimaev going to make it through? Is he going to gas out? And 5 is because that was the only rounds DDP had actually any fucking moments, okay? But honestly, in terms of his title defenses, I do think they will be finishes. I think that the competition of Barajo, Imavov, RDR, Fluffy, maybe not some of these guys, we're going to have to see how they do against Chimaev, because maybe DDP, who the hell knows, maybe he was just a really rough matchup for Chimaev in terms of himself, okay? Maybe he just wasn't the one to do it like we thought, and maybe these other guys, they don't seem like it, but an upset, these upsets do happen. These big upsets against unbeatable champions, maybe RDR, Fluffy, Imavov, Barajo, maybe they do have a chance. But I think Chimaev, man, I think he's going to go out there, and I do agree with you. I think they will be finishes. I think he's going to actively hunt for the submission. I think he's going to get the fuck after it with ground and pound, and not just pitter-patter ground and pound like against DDP. Devastating ground and pound, because Chimaev knows how to get the fuck after it. He's really good at advancing positions. He's just so strong down there, man. He could smother fucking guys, and he will not allow you to do anything down there, okay? So that's why for DDP to even get out of the takedowns and even get the better of Chimaev's, and even one of the scrambles in that 5th round was a fucking crazy feat. But me even saying that, that's so worrying for the future and competition of Chimaev. Like, what are they going to do, bro? Chimaev is this good. He's getting even better. He's still young. I think he's just going to dominate everyone. And I agree with you that I don't think it's going to be what we saw against DDP every time. It's not going to be a 50-43 scorecard and pitter-patter ground and pound and just smudge festing the entire time, okay? I think Chimaev will actively hunt for submissions. I think he can actively hunt for knockouts. I think it's underrated boxing, and I think that he'll show that off in the future. And dude, he's like a minus 500 favorite already, and it's just going to grow against all these guys. And I'm not the biggest Chimaev fan, but who the fuck is going to beat him? If anybody's going to beat Chimaev, it's going to be some random crazy upset, and Chimaev maybe gasses out or some shit, okay? But I agree with you. It's a bit of a cold take. Moving on up next to Luke Franklin saying that Alex Pereira is going to star Chimaev Ankalaev in the rematch. If you go and rewatch the first fight, in my opinion, it was actually quite a close decision. My brother, I hate to be honest, I think a lot of people thought it was a close decision. I agree with you. I think a lot of people would agree with you. Even though Ankalaev deserved the win, Pereira will not much be more confident on the feet after displaying good takedown defense. I expect him to fight how we did in rounds 1 and 2 versus Izzy at 287. I struggle to believe that anyone, let alone Magomed Ankalaev, can survive 50 minutes without getting caught against Poatan. Now, this is a hot take. I don't necessarily agree with you because I think that Big Ank is going to win, but dude, I can respect this one, okay? I would genuinely want Pereira to become the champion again. Please, bro. I forgot that Big Ank was the champion until the other day when I saw some fucking full violence post, okay? So it's kind of down bad. But in general, I think that the first time around, the betting odds were very close. It was practically a pick'em fight, and now Magomed Ankalaev is a damn near 2-1 favorite. So I think things are a bit different now. I feel like the first time around too, it wasn't just the betting odds. People were very 50-50 on the fight. You had a lot of people going one way with Ank. You had a lot of people going the other way with Pereira. And even the fact that it was a 5-round close decision and Pereira won 2 rounds and Ank won 3, everything about that fight was very close. But now in the rematch, you could tell that things are a bit different. Ankalaev, yes, he did shoot 11 takedowns, I believe it was, and he got every single one of them stuffed. And Pereira did look good in the striking, but it wasn't great, man. He just looked very slow compared to Ankalaev, and he was getting pieced up. I believe he got outstruck by Ank. And Pereira never really had a moment in the first fight where he did rock Ankalaev. He was very focused on when the takedowns were going to come in or when Ankalaev was going to mix up in the clinch, whatever the fuck it was. So I feel like Pereira just never had that moment where he cracked Ankalaev. But I believe it was at the end of round 2, it was Ankalaev of all fucking things that cracked Pereira. Like, that fight really went the opposite of what we thought because Pereira stuffed every takedown even though we thought that the grappling was going to be a problem. And Ankalaev was the one who was cracking Pereira and the one who was outstriking him. For this time around, I think that Pereira, I agree with you. I think he will be hunting for the finish a bit more. I think he will be a bit quicker in there. I think he'll be more confident knowing that he did stuff all the takedowns before and he kind of knows what to expect. But I could see that backfiring for him as well. I could see that giving even more confidence to Ankalaev to just move the fuck forward. It was a very slow fight and a very boring fight the first time around. So I think that this rematch might be a bit of a Merab versus O'Malley kind of vibe. It is kind of very similar in that regard. The first fight was an absolute stinker, but in retrospect, you could argue that the striker, the powerful guy, he took 2 rounds off him. It was a closer fight than people thought. And in the rematch, it doesn't have too much buzz or excitement, but now the other guy is a bigger favorite. And in the same way that you said, I struggle to believe anyone, let alone Ank, can survive 50 minutes without getting caught against Pereira, is the same thing me was... The same thing me and a lot of other people were saying about Sean O'Malley and his power. Like, nobody can survive 50 minutes against it. Not even Merab and his good chin. But Merab went out there and finished him in the third. If anybody's going to get a finish this time around, yes, obviously it could be Alex Pereira. The power is always devastating. He's got great kickboxing. And I think that the takedown defense really held up against Ank. But I think Ank, I mean, we know this. We've been known this. And I think the last performance really showed it off. But he's more of a striker than a grappler. He's comfortable in a stand-and bank scenario. He's got solid pop behind his shots. But the thing about Ank, yes, he can get a round 1 or 2 knockout, but he's not afraid to just pitter-patter. He's not afraid to overly maintain the distance, stay in the back foot, but still get enough strikes in to win him the rounds, mix it up in the clinch. Like, he can stink it up over 5 rounds, man. He's had some boring fucking fights. You don't know with Ank, but I do think that this fight is going to be higher paced than the first one. I think both guys are going to have solid cardio. Yes, to be able to go 5 rounds, but I think that each one is going to be hunting for the finish. Ankalaev's going to be hunting for it because he's confident now that he can beat Pereira, and he's not afraid of the power. If anything, he cracked Pereira in that fight. And for Pereira, he's going to be more confident hunt for the finish because he knows that his takedown defense can hold up, and he knows the improvements in the first fight. Yes, he's getting older in age. Yes, he's fucking almost 40, and Ankalaev is just entering his prime, really, for light heavyweight. But this is kind of the last dance for Pereira. If he doesn't move up to heavyweight after this, this is really his last chance for UFC gold. I'm sure he recognizes this, okay? And I understand it was a bit of a disappointing performance the first time, but I don't think he'll allow to just be tipped away by Magomed Ankalaev and just let him control the pace and where the fight goes. I think Pereira will hunt for a finish. I think he'll throw a little bit more output than the first time, and I think this will be a more enjoyable fight than the first one, but I'm seeing an Ankalaev round 3 or 4 finish, to be honest with you, and it's gonna be fucking brutal, okay? Because I miss Pereira as champion. It is what it is, brother, okay? This is a hot take, but it's not too hot of a take. I'm rooting for Pereira. I genuinely hope you're right, but unfortunately, I think I smell a big Ank round 3 or 4 finish. Moving on up next to Javier Gomez saying that Gene Silva will leave 145 and go to 155 permanently sometime in 2026. Now, the fact that that is so soon and the fact that Gene Silva is just kind of now making it to the top, I will say that this is a hot take. Yes, he kind of did take on that 155 fight short notice against Drew Dober. He did very fucking well. He ended up TKOing him, I believe, by Dr. Stoppage. I hope McGregor doesn't come bursting through my door. But Gene Silva, he is a bit big for 145. He isn't the tallest, he isn't the rangiest, but the dude is short, stocky, and fucking bulky. He's muscular, and the dude knows how to crack, so I feel like his power would translate pretty fucking well to 55. It did against Drew Dober, but I feel like 45 just is the mold for him. So overall, I'm going to say this is a bit of a hot take. It is soon, but honestly, dude, I feel like 145 is just the weight class for Gene Silva. I don't think the power is going to crack the same against guys like Saryuki and Oliveira, Makachev, Dan fucking Hooker, whatever the hell it is.
Hey,
Pereira, whatever the fuck it is, okay? But I just think the 145 mold, he's fast as fuck, he's dynamic on the feet, his power is just so sneaky, so explosive. It's like an atom bomb just coming out of nowhere. 1 second, they're here. The other, they're on the floor. They're on the mat cold, okay? And Gene Silva, I don't know if that power will apply just as devastatingly the same. Yes, Topuria moved up from 145 to 155, and his power is just as devastating, okay? We're going to have to see how it goes against Gaethje and Saryuki and all those guys. But for Silva specifically, I don't know if he has that Topuria power. Maybe he does. Maybe he fucking does, but we'll have to see it. He certainly has the potential to be, but I think 145 is just a more favorable division for him because I think that even the wrestlers, man, like he submitted Bryce Mitchell, who was one of the better grapplers for that division, man. So him against Sterling, him against Evlev could be very fucking interesting. He's riding so much hype. If he beats Lopez, he's arguably one away from a title shot, or via UFC bullshit and shenanigans, he could get the next title shot above Lerone Murphy, bro, and Evlev, okay? I could see that just happening. You know how Trunks got Super Saiyan before Vegeta did, and he's like, oh, that's literally how it's gonna be when Gene Silva gets the title shot before fucking these other guys, okay? So overall, a bit of a hot take, but not too hot of a take, and I think that Gene Silva is just better at 145. He's quicker, the speed applies, and the power applies as well. And I just think there's less favorable matchups for him at 155. They might be too fucking big for him up there. It's a big jump, okay? Moving on next to J8H saying that Jack Della Maddalena is the best. I'm so fucking sorry. He's the best and most technical boxer in the UFC right now. Topuria is a close second, but he's carried by his power. And if Jack were to beat Islam and Ilya were to beat Justin or Arman or both and move up to 170, I would honestly favor JDM to beat him. JDM is just so smooth and slick with everything he does and is continuing to improve. Now, here's the thing. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. This is a hot take, but honestly, it's not too hot of a take. A lot of people would disagree with this, but there's a solid amount that would, you know what, tip their fucking hat to you, tip their Ben Askren fro to you, and respect this man, because honestly, in terms of JDM being the best boxer for his division, I think he is. I think that if you asked me a year ago, I would have said like Buckley or somebody like that, or Edwards or Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. People forget, man. Like one of those. But honestly, man, I was just one of the people that was sleeping on JDM. It wasn't a testament against JDM's performances against Burns or Holland or any of that. But for me, I wasn't riding the hype too much. But when I saw him piece up Bilal the way he did, when I saw not only the striking look so good, but also because they were in the pocket and getting scrappy with it. And just overly, it was a striking battle for most of that fight. Bilal was very unsuccessful with the takedowns and wasn't even shooting until halfway through. That really just showed me, combined with everything in his career, the knockouts, or just the slick precision, or just the timing, everything, man. Like, JDM has the pop behind his shots, also mixed with the proper technique, the speed, the precision. He's so slick with it. And yes, you're right, he is young as fuck. He's like 28 or 29 years old. If the prime was the door, he just kicked it open, and he has yet to run to the fucking house and take the kids. I don't even know what that means, but dude, he is continuing to improve. He just entered his prime. He has a really good chance of beating Islam Makhachev. I'm torn on that fight. All day at work yesterday, I'm like, is Makhachev going to win? Is JDM going to win? I don't fucking know. But I do know that in terms of JDM being the best and most technical boxer in the UFC right now, for his division, I agree. I think he is. Pound for pound, any weight class, I'm not sure. I would say top 5 for sure. I think he's a top 5, probably top 3. You know what? Yeah, he's a top fucking 3. He's a top 3 striker in the UFC right now. I would say Topuria's up there, JDM's up there, and I feel like there's another name I'm fucking missing. But what I'm thinking about, obviously it's not any of the light heavyweights or the heavyweights, but when you're or maybe not even the middleweights either, okay? When you're looking at the flyweight, bantamweight, featherweight, and lightweight weight classes, they're so fast. There's a lot of good strikers. I mean, look at bantamweight alone. The top 5 consists of like Sandhagen, Umar, fucking O'Malley. Like, these guys are elite, amazing strikers, and so many. Piotr Jan as well. There's so many good strikers in the top 5 of bantamweight alone. You know what I'm saying? So for JDM, he's a top 3 striker in the UFC in my opinion, because he has so much going for him. He's so technical. He's not afraid to get in the pocket and get scrappy with it. Pieces guys up, and the fact that he has such good power to go with it, yes, it doesn't necessarily apply to like a Bilal Muhammad or something like that, but he was able to bust open up Bilal Muhammad's lip. He was able to make his face look fucking different. Bilal Muhammad needed a solid amount of time off after that, all because JDM was just busting him the fuck up. So yes, I do agree with this, but I don't agree with it. I don't think he's the best and most technical boxer, but I would say he's a top 3 or 5. Okay, I would maybe put Topuria above him and a couple other guys, but who the fuck knows? I'd really have to sit down and think about it, but I do think he has a good chance of beating Islam Makhachev. We're really gonna have to see how it goes. It's very fucking 50-50. So this is a hot take, but I'm sure a solid amount of people would agree with it. It's not too hot of a take. I respect it, okay? I fuck with JDM. Moving on to the next one we got coming from Elon Musket, saying that Merab is always gonna be boring no matter how much he emotes. Hey, Elon Musket, shut the fuck up, you know? I am the most entertaining fighter on the roster. Me and Aljamain Sterling are the best strikers. Now, here's the thing. I do think that Merab, no disrespect to him, he just kind of naturally does have a bit more of a boring fucking style. He lacks finishing ability for the most part. He's primarily just a grappler who is kind of just spamming the takedowns. A lot of times in his career, he's a bit of a smudge grappler. It's until very recently where Merab has kind of put out banger after banger, okay? The fight against Cejudo was very fun. And right after that, he just stunk it up against O'Malley. But then after that, he puts on one of the fights of the fucking year. Still right now, it's fucking September, and it's still holding up. Merab versus Umar. And then he comes back in the rematch against O'Malley, and that fight was a very fun fight for as short as it lasted for those 3 rounds. So Merab, man, you don't fucking know. And then on the come up, he'd have boring fight after boring fight. He was smudge fest and yawn, and everybody hated him. But then he also had the Marlon Moraes performance, which is to this day one of the best like 2-round fights I've ever fucking seen. So you just don't know with Merab, okay? So that's why, in my opinion, this is a hot take, because I'm sure even a lot of people nowadays, especially with the amount of love that's just increasing from Merab, the amount of attention and respect that's going up for Merab, a lot of people are kind of appreciating his style. A lot of people used to say before, oh, he just relies on the cardio, and oh, his wrestling's not even that fucking good. Oh, he's just boring as fuck. But now people are saying, oh, he's more than the cardio. Oh, his wrestling is that good. Oh, I actually enjoyed this Merab fight. So now the tides are really fucking changing for Merab, okay? Because a lot of people are recognizing that his style is a bit more than just the fucking emoting. Now, I understand that the emotes, all that shit against Umar and O'Malley, I understand that is part of it, okay? That was kind of just the buzz in the air. That's what he's fucking doing to make it entertaining. And it is a little bit fucking zesty, okay? Like, it's not as entertaining as like an Alex Pereira flatline KO. I would fucking prefer that shit. But for Merab, man, I will say I have been entertained lately by him. The fight against Cejudo, the fight against Umar, and the fight against the O'Malley rematch have been entertaining fights. He gets the fuck after it with the grappling, and he doesn't just need the emotes to make it entertaining, in my opinion. I feel like his striking has been improving to where he's getting in the pocket with O'Malley, and he's getting in the pocket with Umar, and he's not afraid to get scrapped with it on the feet, and he made it very fun fights. And the grappling exchanges that we did see, I mean, he submitted O'Malley, and the scrambles against Cejudo, I mean, he's fucking carrying Cejudo to the fucking moon. He's embarrassing him. He's making him forget that he was an Olympian, okay? He's carrying him to the fucking moon and face planting him like some Brock Lesnar shit in front of Mark Zuckerberg. And then against Umar, man, just stuffing the takedowns, and he's taking him down when he wants, and he's just shucking him off and pointing him and all that shit. Like, Merab, I get it. Some people do think, oh, it's just the emotes. And oh, I just think he's always fucking boring. And I'm not going to dispute that. This is a hot take, but anybody that says that they're just always bored by a Merab fight, that is your opinion. We all kind of get different things out of the fucking sport. Some people are going to be bored as fuck at point A, and other people love point A. But point B, oh, I love this shit, and the other guys are sick of it. No, you know, it's just different for everybody. We all have different shit we want to watch, okay? I'm not going to be the guy that's like, go watch kickboxing, or how about go watch fucking wrestling? How about go watch some fucking grappling, okay? Go watch some fucking jiu-jitsu, whatever the fuck it is. But honestly, in terms of MMA, in terms of Merab, I do think that, yes, a lot of his fights are stinkers. And yes, the come up was a bit on the fucking boring side. But at the very least, right now, I think that he's doing the most for us. He's being active, and he is putting out consistently exciting performance, at least for now, okay? So I can understand why you would think he's boring as fuck no matter what. I'm not going to dispute that, but lately, I'm not going to lie, I have been rocking with Merab, and he has been putting on some good shows, and it's not just the emoting, you know what I'm saying? And moving on to the last one we got here, coming from Brody Reeves, saying that Pantoja is good, but his title reign is getting more overpraised than Sidney Sweeney. Not my type, okay? Not his type, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? And he put a lot of information here, a lot of details. I'm not going to put it all on your screen because it genuinely would take up most of the screen, but he's basically saying that he barely beat Moreno. He dominated Royval, fair enough, but he beat number 10 Steve Erceg, and then he beat debuting Kai Sakura. Basically, he's disputing that Pantoja's title reign is kind of as good as people say. And honestly, this is a hot take. This is a hot take. A lot of people, I'm sure, would disagree with this, but honestly, I fucking do agree. I do agree, because you're not saying that it's bad. You're not just trying to shit on it. You're not just saying that it's completely overhyped and all that, but you're saying that Pantoja, he is good, but his title reign is just getting overpraised. And I do agree with you, man. Like, Jesus, I've seen people already putting Pantoja in their top 5 or 10 fighters of all time. And it's just like, I was talking about pumping the brakes with Merab. Holy fuck, we gotta pump the brakes with Pantoja. I know that everybody said this after 319, but Elliott versus Asakura just completely went to show that the competition levels between DJ's era and the era of Pantoja aren't too different. Yes, they are. I mean, the competition nowadays is better. But man, the division at the time, like people were saying that, oh, the Tim Elliott title defense from DJ was the worst one, the same way they were talking about the Asakura one. So for when DJ's title defense goes out there and fucking submits Kai Asakura, man, it is a rough look for Pantoja. On top of the fact that Pantoja, he has 1/3 of the defenses that DJ does. Now, I'm one of the people that thinks that title defenses aren't everything. I think that honestly it's about the quality of the wins. I think that there are some just fights in general that could matter a bit more than a title fight, because like look at the John Jones Anthony Smith title defense, okay, and all that other bullshit. Even look at Pantoja's defense against Kai Asakura. Like there's a bit of an asterisk with shit like that. Not necessarily an asterisk, it was a title defense, but you know what I'm saying, like Pereira against Roundtree last year, like all that shit, okay? I think that Pantoja is very good. I think that he deserves to be in the top 3 or 4 pound for pound right now. I think that he's well-rounded, he's durable as all fuck, he has one of the best chins in the UFC, his striking has improved so much, he throws a solid amount of output on the feet, but his grappling is his bread and butter. He's got very good takedowns, he's good in the scrambles, he's good at advancing to get the fucking submissions that he wants. Like Pantoja is good in all regards, man. And even though he's 35 years old, again, he just seems like he's in the middle of his fucking prime, okay? But honestly, in terms of all these comment sections that are like the disrespect on Pantoja, like I get it, because there's a lot of times Pantoja is disrespected. He does deserve to be higher up on blank, or he does deserve more attention. But honestly, man, for all these people that are saying Pantoja's the flyweight GOAT already, and Pantoja's above DJ, and Pantoja's even one away from him, man, like, I don't think that's the case. I think that right now, like, the Urseg win, it isn't that great. The Kai Kara France win, it isn't that great. The Kai Sakura win, it isn't that great. I think the Moreno and the Royval wins are kind of carrying him through here. But in general, like, the fact that he beat Cop 2 as well, like Pantoja, it wasn't just the title run. He did already beat most of the division, but I do think that Demetrius Johnson did the exact same fucking thing, but for even longer, okay, and even more wins. So Pantoja, he is very good, okay? I think he does suffer from just being in the flyweight weight class. He doesn't get too much respect from people in the grand scheme of things. I think that he deserves more respect and attention. But honestly, man, for as good as I think Pantoja is, for as well-rounded as he is, I think he's going to do very well against Joshua Van and pretty much everybody else, okay, for probably the next couple of years. He's just getting close to that GOAT status for the division, but dude, I feel like people just need to chill a little fucking bit, okay? The wins right now are kind of, for the most part, similar to a DJ. Yes, he has some of the wins that separate him, and yes, he's still beaten most of the top 10, and that's very impressive. That's why he's the second greatest flyweight of all time. That's not a fucking easy thing to do, okay? But I do think that just a little bit, just a little fucking bit, his title reign is getting overpraised. I think his skill set's very good. I think his title reign is very good and is very enjoyable so far. I think he's going to probably win against Joshua Van and beyond. We'll have to fucking see. I might change up, but overall, this is a hot take. I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with this, but honestly, I do see what you're saying, and I do agree. And again, I think Pantoja is having a great title reign. I think he's a great champion. He is the top 4 pound for pound worthy for me, okay? And I don't see a lot of people beating him, but I just think that people are just going crazy as fuck over him for the fuck of it, okay? We just need to relax a little bit. We're all good. All right, I'm not going to dispute anybody from loving Pantoja, though. I'm here for it. And that's going to be it, man. That is going to be it for the hot takes for this video. I appreciate it to everybody who submitted anything in, man. Whether you included a take in the video, or whether you just submitted one in the post, or whether you're just watching, whether you're just listening, okay? Making it this far in the video, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much for making this far in the video. It means the fucking world to me, man. Leave your opinions in the comments below. Let me know your hot takes. Let me know what you think of the hot takes in this video. Let me know what you think of my opinions. I would love to fucking hear it, okay, my boys? So I appreciate y'all a lot. All the smoke here. Hope you have a good one, man. And I will see you all next time.